Do you feel alive? Do you wake up feeling refreshed? Would you like to? The ion foot bath is an excellent and effective way to add vitality and balance to your life. Hi, my name is Marlene Scotchmer, and the ion foot bath changed my life. 9 years ago, my daughter met a woman who had a machine that she claimed she could take the toxins out of your feet. I was very skeptical, but I'll try anything once, so I made an appointment to give it a try. I lead a healthy lifestyle. I drink lots of water, I eat healthy foods, I exercise, and when I went for a treatment and I put my feet in clean water, I thought it would stay clean. To my surprise, it started to turn black and it ended up being scummy black. I was shocked. After the treatment, I felt a little lighter, nothing too dramatic. However, the next day when I woke up, I felt 10 pounds lighter, 10 years younger. I was full of energy. I couldn't believe it. Now I know why I felt so different. The ion foot bath released common toxic materials from my body that had been stored up for over 40 years. It was like a breath of fresh air. I became so passionate about the ion foot bath that I basically built my own company. My vision was to have an ion foot bath in every home. I took all my available money, hired engineers and professionals, and we created the NRG machine. Thus, Total Energy was born. We've made a lot of modifications over the years, the most recent one being adding the Rife technology to it, which I believe has made it the most effective ion foot bath to date on the market. To begin our treatment, we're going to use the Rife mode. The options are either the array or the hand grips, and whichever way you choose, you plug in the appropriate plug, the red into the red and the black into the black, and then the end of the cable goes into the machine. The other option when doing a Rife treatment is to use the hand grips or Rife bars, and you plug the black into the black, the red into the red, and then you hold them in your hands for the length of the treatment. It is important to use Total Energy array with the Total Energy machine. Using another manufacturer's array can cause damage to your machine. What we found most effective is doing the Rife treatment prior to the detox. There are two options of doing the Rife treatment. Basically, you can use the hand grips or you can use the array. The codes for the Rife are in the back of the manual. There are over 800 different codes. So you select the code and then input the code and the time. And I'm just going to show that starting the machine. To begin the Rife treatment, we will select the Rife mode and we'll put in time of 5 minutes. And also we will use, for example, the arthritis code, which is 180. So we select 180 and then press the enter key. And we have the time we want, the number we want, so we press OK. And then we press start to begin, and it shows you the countdown of the time, and also the frequencies are displayed above the bar. This specific treatment is set up to work through the array that is in the water. The important thing with the array in the water is that the copper tube is covered with water. So it's actually running now, and it displays the codes and the time left in the treatment. order to do a salt test, we will press menu and then more and test and start. And as you'll notice, the bars are not lining up in the center, so we will add a little bit of salt. And the ideal setting is lined up exactly in the center. And there we go. Fluctuates a little bit until it gets the right amount of salt. There we go. I would say that is perfect right there. So we will press stop and then go back to the detox setting. Back again, and press classic and press detox, full detox, and start. And you'll notice the number here should be 2.25 because we adjusted the salt and the bar is roughly in the middle. Okay, now that we have finished with the Rife treatment, we will do the detox, but I just want to add that it's very important not to do a detox treatment with the Rife bars. And having said that, we will carry on with the detox treatment. So we set the classic mode to do detox, and then press detox, and full detox. And just before I press the start, I will measure the appropriate amount of salt that goes in, and it's sea salt, and the measuring spoon comes with it, and it's 1/4 teaspoon of salt that goes in, and then we'll press start. Once we do that, you do notice the bar crossing the screen, and it should go halfway to be the appropriate amount of salt, and it also measures the amperage, and the correct amperage is 2.25, and depending on the amount of salt you put in, you will notice it fluctuating. And also, if you have a water softener, you will use less salt. When it comes time to replace the plates in the array, you take the bolts off the bottom of the terminals on either side, take the center bolt off and remove this, remove the old plates, the new ones fit in where the old ones were, replace the front cover, and then replace the terminals there. Also important is to remember to keep the top dry, and your plates will last probably anywhere from 40 to 60 uses if you're taking proper care of them. I'd like to introduce Michael Freisleben. Michael, can you tell us why you think the ion foot bath is essential to good health?
The biggest issue when people start asking me about health is how I got involved with it, because you know, it's easy for someone to stand up in front of a room and spout data, but it's a lot harder if you don't have any history, at least a reason that people understand why you're doing this. I've had health problems all my life, and I got tired by the time I was 17 of being sick, and I had chronic infections, chronic headaches, and so on. And I knew the way to sick kids' hospital better than most parents, or people that drove me because I'd been there so many times. And by the time I was 17 years of age, the best thing they could prescribe for me was painkillers and aspirin. I've had pain all my life. That's been the biggest hassle. In high school, I was fondly known as the Professor Doom and Gloom because I was just always miserable because things hurt, and it's hard when everything hurts. Then in 1979, I was introduced to a man by the name of Ed Rossiter. He pointed out to me that my main health problem was that I was deficient in minerals. When I had trouble accepting that because I'm a graduate from the University of Waterloo as a biochemist, and said, well, if that was so important, I would have known about this. Here was a man who barely had a grade 8 education trying to tell me that I needed minerals. So he threw a bottle of minerals at me and had me take them. And I was shocked. Within 3 days, all the chronic aches and pains that I'd been suffering for so long disappeared. I got really interested in why that happened, why Sick Kids Hospital hadn't figured this out. That's how my love of nutrition grew. I've been doing nutrition work with people and then into animals and now into soils since 1979. In the process, I realized that there's more goes on in the human body than we realize. And building up of toxins and getting the body properly cleansed is a part of that factor. Now, nature has several different ways of cleansing the body. One of them is to be walking barefoot across the ground. The electrical charge in the soil actually pulls the toxins out through the bottom of our feet. Small children know that. That's why so often you have trouble keeping shoes and socks on small children. My daughter is a classic example. We could never keep shoes on that girl. About 1984, I happened to read a book by Jackie Davison. The book is called Cancer Winner. It's in bad shape because it's been out of print for years. She talked about the fact that while she was getting herself rid of the cancer that was in her body, she talked about walking across the kitchen floor one day and finding black soot coming out on her feet. So again, that told me that there's something about the feet and toxins and feet in good health that needs to be looked at. I was at a demonstration for the ionic foot bath, and I happened to see Marlene doing the presentation, and this question about Jackie Davison with her soot coming out of her feet had stayed with me for years. And the moment Marlene talked about taking toxins out through the feet and having to do this on a regular basis, I said, oh, no, I'm interested. And so this question had been with a long time. The problem with ionic foot baths, if there's anything negative to be said about it, is that people think it's going to solve all their problems. It's only a part of a good health program. Getting rid of toxins also involves breathing properly, bathing, exercising, removing toxins through the bottom of your feet, and so on. I feel this ionic foot bath is a quick, easy, painless way. A few minutes a couple of times a week or a couple of times a month can do a lot to help the body that way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, I was wondering, can you explain why the pH balance is so important to the body and our general health?
There's been a lot of discussion about pH today. If you get on the internet and type in pH, you will find there's thousands of websites and thousands of ideas on why pH is important. How I established that pH was important is I always look to nature. I find nature's done all the work for us already. If you talk to anybody that's involved with the soils, they will tell you that pH is crucial for the proper use and absorption of minerals in the soil. pH is also essential in the human body for the same factor. The other thing that pH does is it controls how fast the energy flows through our bodies. We are an electrical being. We know that if we go and get a heart examination done, they do what's called an ECG, electrocardiogram. If you're having problems with your brain activity, they can measure that too. The problem with pH today is that so many people, because of our lifestyle, their pH is either too high or too low. The way you know if your pH is too high is you will have skin problems and you will have constipation issues, you will have body odor, foot odors, all the sort of the negative things that society puts against us. If your pH is too low, which is probably the other half of the population, you'll have aches and pains, you'll be constantly complaining about having very loose bowels, bone aches, joint aches, deep muscle aches, and so on. And aspirin and even massages, whatever else, might make you feel better for a little while, but it doesn't solve the problem of pH. How do you balance your pH? You balance it with sunshine, vitamin D, calcium, and keeping your salts in the proper balance within your body. And the ionic foot bath is another example of how by getting the salts in balance within the mineral salts in balance within the body, you will have a better chance of getting your pH where it needs to be. In nature, a healthy pH is between 6.4 and 6.8. Don't let the internet tell you any different. Most people think it should be over 7. I will tell you right now, if in nature you allow the pH of an animal or a soil to go over 7, they will not do well. We know now, as I said, I look at nature for my inspiration. Nature runs at 6.4, 6.6, 6.8. I believe that's where we need to be too.
Michael, is there anything else you would like to add?
When I'm talking to people about nutritional experiences, there are people that have the data and there's people that have the theory, and then there's people that have the experience. And my personal preference is to always speak to someone who's had the experience. So personally for me, the ionic foot baths surprised me. It was something I hadn't expected. I was looking for detoxification. I knew that I had issues with bad breath and body odor and thought, well, you know, it doesn't hurt to see what would happen there. One of the things that had started to happen about 10 years ago is I started having chronic back problems, to the point that whenever I had to stand for more than 15 minutes, I would look for a place to sit down, or I actually carried a small blue chair with me. And after I had done the third ionic foot bath session, the next day my daughter had a horse show in Mount Forest that she had to go to. So we ended up having to stand on concrete for about 2 hours while she was going through her horse show stuff. It was a 4-H project. What surprised me was that after about an hour or so, I suddenly realized, wait a minute, I'm standing here and my back doesn't hurt. The back problems had started, so I'd gone to my chiropractor and he had taken about 14 different x-rays and poked and prodded and carried on, and he said my back was too straight, and because of the heavy lifting I'd done over the years, the vertebra had crushed down and it was causing pain on the nerves. I believe when there's healing going on in the body's first reaction is to push water into that area. This is why if you bump your head really hard, the first thing you do is you get a big welt. And that's the water moving in. The next thing that the body does is it puts mineral salts in there because we need minerals for healing. Those mineral salts conduct nerve impulses, and that's what brings on the pain. Now what's supposed to happen is that at some point, after the healing is over, those mineral salts are supposed to go away and then the pain's gone. What happens with some people, and I was an example, is the mineral salts did not leave that injured area in my back. And since it's a hard spot to get at as far as circulation for the body, the pain continued because the mineral salts were there and they weren't moving out of the body. Normally, mineral salts are moved out of the body through the kidneys. This is why drinking adequate amounts of water is so important. Also, the fact that it should be steam distilled water because the minerals in the water really only add to the problem. So what I believe happened is that when I did the ionic foot bath, because it's an electrical type therapy, it went in and removed those mineral salts from my injured back area, which at that point the nerve impulses then slowed down and the pain went away. Here we are 10 years later and the pain has continued to stay away. If I feel any twinges coming back, another foot bath or two will take care of it immediately. So there's a benefit I found strictly by accident that I really wasn't looking for. We had a fellow by the name of Ron who was flat on his back. When he came to get a foot bath done, he was laying in the back of a van. He couldn't even stand up because the pain in his back was so severe. After we'd done the first foot bath, he was actually able to walk upright with some help. By the time he'd done a second foot bath, he was able to walk with just a cane. It wasn't that he had problems with his muscles, it was just the pain was so severe. Again, I had said to him, this is what happened to me, this is what could happen to you. So, in the human body, water, mineral salts, removal of the mineral salts is the healing process. And again, the ionic foot bath has the ability to help us with that, which is in conjunction with what the body normally does.
I'd like to introduce Marilyn Scott, a natural healthcare practitioner. Marilyn, can you tell us how the Ion Foot Bath has helped your clients?
For the past 8 years, I've used the Total Energy Ion Foot Bath for not only my family, but my clients. It is important to know that where toxins are concerned, we are all different. Everyone has different places that they have problems. For example, if they have toxins in their head, probably they have headaches. If they're having kidney problems, maybe there's toxins there. If there's joint problems, maybe sore knees, maybe sore elbows. By removing the toxins, they can get relief. I've had different people try quitting smoking, and they've managed to have success because they got the nicotine and the tar out of their system very quickly. And then their cells were able to regenerate and were able to stay off cigarettes as opposed to going back on them again. People who have had addiction with drugs or with alcohol, especially those who have managed to get off the alcohol and the drugs, then if they do treatments, they have a better chance of staying off of them completely. I've had a lady who actually managed to stay out of a nursing home for an extra year. Her family especially enjoyed that because they got an extra year with her. And it's because the toxins were removed from her body, or at least to some degree, and she was able to stay at home. I also had a lady who had had a chronic cough, and she just could not get rid of it. It was a virus. They were not able to give her anything, but with the help of the foot bath, she was able to get rid of that cough a little bit quicker. In fact, probably much quicker than she would have otherwise, because she was really struggling. She is now one of the people that come every month faithfully. For some people, it's a good night's sleep. You know, they just say, my feet feel so nice and light, and I just feel really good, and I had the best sleep ever. And man, that is worth a lot.
We have many satisfied healthcare professionals using the Ion Foot Bath for their clients. We look forward to being of service to you and providing for your healthcare needs. Thank you for your time.